Welcome! It's a great day to be a miner because we got some new hardware, baby. We're gonna unbox this thing, go over the specs, features, and most importantly, where you can get it. But first, let's go ahead and spin that intro. Alright, so today we got a fun one. We picked this thing up from PlebSource, and quick disclaimer, this is not a paid sponsored video. That means we paid for this with our own cold hard cash. That means we can say whatever we want to say. Now, with that out of the way, you know what time it is, baby? RGB knife, engage. Alright, so yeah, you're probably asking, what's in the box? Then again, you probably know what's in the box because you looked at the thumbnail and the description, but we're gonna pretend that you have no idea what's in here, and we're gonna open it up, we're gonna set it up, go over the specs, features, and all that fun, nerdy stuff. So first and foremost, we picked this up from PlebSource. We'll put links down in the description, of course, and this is the only place that I've seen that you can actually pick one of these up. I actually saw these months ago. They had them on the site. They were only there for a few days. I hesitated, I didn't order it in time, it was gone. I told Red Panda about it, then magically a few weeks later, he got one, even though they were sold out. Somehow he pulled some strings and got one, and now they are back. And now we're going to, as soon as I saw they hit back on there, I picked one up. We're gonna show you this thing, and we're gonna tell you why it's amazing, and you know, all that fun nerdy stuff. So, right off the bat, we've got a card that says, stop, please read before returning, shipping damage, overheating, tech support, do not contact Amazon. That's good because we didn't buy it from Amazon. Actually, I don't think that PlebSource is selling on Amazon anymore. Too many issues with returns and terrible, you know, it's hard selling on Amazon, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, there it is. It is a Lucky Miner, sort of. And we'll tell you why it's a sort of and not a... Somebody will clean that up. Okay. Well, we'll tell you why it's not really a true Lucky Miner. It is the Lucky Miner hardware with some custom tweaks that make it amazing. So let's open it up and see what exactly it is. There's the box, standard Lucky Miner box. The LV07, LV08, the Dogecoin, I think it's DG07 or 08. They all come in the same kind of box, different colors for the Doge one is orange, but yeah, let's look and see here. Oh, man, that thing's in there. All right, there's the item, and it's wrapped like it's new, although it is new, but it's been tweaked, so it's not completely new. And then inside, that's all there is, foam padding. You've got your power cord, you've got the device itself. We'll set the box gently aside so we don't break any more glass. And then we'll open up this plastic and see what it looks like in here. I'm not sure how they were able to open that without ripping it. I rip those every time. They're always got a funny seal. All right. Man, this smells burnt. Smells like burnt electronics. Hopefully it works well. So here's what it is. This is the Lucky Miner LV08. At least it was the Lucky Miner LV08. Now it is the Lucky X5. Yeah, that's what they're calling it, the Lucky X5. And if it looks kind of familiar, that's because it is basically a rip-off design of a trusted friend. Let me show you. This guy, this is the Canon Avalon Nano 3, and basically what Lucky Miner did was they took one of these and they built their own that is pretty much a mimic of this guy. It's a Bitcoin Solo Miner heater. Yeah, so if you don't know what these things are, check out our video up above where we go over the setup. But these things are amazing. They're really innovative. This was the 3, not the 3S. When it first came out, very innovative. It did have some minor issues, different issues with the power adapter, certain things like that. I personally never had any issues with any of mine, but I always ran them on medium mode, and I always ran them in a vertical orientation so that they stayed cooler and didn't overheat the components. And I never had a single issue with mine other than one of them had a fan go out on it. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's a Bitcoin heater. Basically, it runs on the SHA-256 algorithm. It mines and it puts out a decent amount of heat. It has cool LEDs around it that create a nice ambient glow with a good screen on them. But now this one would do 4 terahash, I believe up to 140 watts, and the new version does 140 watts, but 6 terahash. So what did the Lucky Miner do? Well, Lucky Miner did what Lucky Miner often does, and they found a good design, and they made basically a mimic of that, and they made it a closed source. So what's closed source? Closed source means that it is specifically locked down, right? You can't go and change certain parameters. You can't do things like basic overclocking or really in-depth overclocking. A lot of times pools are locked down and you have only a set amount of pools or certain selections within the software itself, or within the firmware itself that's implanted into this. So that's where our awesome PlebSource came in. They came in with like open sourced heroes in the night. Didn't really work. But anyway, they're open sourced heroes of the night. They came in and they reprogrammed this thing and they put Axe OS software in there. So yeah, this thing is using an Axe OS software, which we all know is open source. That means other programmers, other people can go in there, they can work on it, they can tweak it, they can tune it, they can make it better. That we don't have to be completely locked down and blind to what's going on in the background. And we can overclock this thing better. So we'll have to see. We're gonna have to run these things and we're gonna have to test it and see how it actually does. But man, this thing smells like burnt electronics. Ah, delicious. I hope that it works fine. But yeah, there it is, the Lucky Miner X5 on PlebSource. Let's jump over and take a look at it on their official listing, and then we'll tell you all about it, and then we'll come back and we'll set it up and play with it a little. Let's go. All right, so here we are, and we're over in PlebSource's official site, plebsource.com, and then we are looking at the official Lucky X5 listing, and here it is. Let's do a little scroll down on it and look at these here pictures a little bit. Let's move the screen over so we see it a little better. Yeah, so it's showing right here. It's basically the Lucky Miner. Here's the specs on it. The LV08, that it does 4.5 terahash plus or minus 10% on 120 watts plus or minus 10%. That it runs off of Wi-Fi. It does not have direct Ethernet connection. And then it shows, yeah, that is the Axe OS software. Beautiful. And their example here, 4.97 terahash. The efficiency is not super great, 28.98. We'll see what we actually get with the efficiency and see if we can get any better than that, or if that's about the standard. But still, if you're using it for the utility of also a heater, not too shabby. So then let's look at the actual official description of this thing here. All right, so here is the official listing on this guy. It says PlebSource Lucky X5. Introducing the PlebSource Lucky X5, a glorious, rebellious twist on the Lucky Miner LV08 that flips the script on closed source shenanigans. Love that. We've taken these notorious rigs, infamous for swiping the Axe OS firmware and locking it behind proprietary nonsense and giving them the ultimate open source makeover. Our team of renegade tech wizards cracked these machines wide open, slapped on some high-grade thermal paste for peak performance, and cranked the overclock to deliver a blistering 4.2 to 5 terahash right out of the box. Oh, and we reinstated the rightful Axe OS, making these miners fully open source once again, because gatekeeping innovation deserves a swift kick in the circuits. Nice. Power draw is between 90 and 150. That seems to be quite the big range. The Lucky X5 is for miners who value freedom, performance, and sticking it to the suits who think they can hoard open source code. Join the revolution, mine with pride, and let's keep the blockchain free together. Each of these miners have been tested for 1 week prior to shipping with the current settings, so that's interesting too. So yeah, again, this is not a sponsored video, and we're just showing a new product that we paid full price and we went and picked up, and we're gonna set up. We'll ship super quick. Always great in the US for PlebSource and Solo Satoshi. Only good things to say about both these companies so far. but we'll put links down in this for the description, and it's $375 USD. Make sure to use code RPM or Red Panda, one of those two. I'll put that down in the description as well, for an extra like 5% off, I believe. His affiliate, not my affiliate. But yeah, shout out Red Panda. Yeah, so that's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole listing. Let's go and get this thing set up, and let's get it mining, and let's have some fun with it. Go. Before we actually set this thing up, let's do a time warp into the future and take a nice close-up look at this, and then we'll come back and get it set up. Go. Yeah, man, she is a beaut. Let's go ahead and now show you how to set this thing up and check out all the settings and features and all that fun stuff. So first and foremost, the physical setup is you plug the power cord in and you plug it into that guy. You're also going to need some sort of mobile device, whether it be a phone, a tablet, laptop, something that can connect to a Wi-Fi network. We're going to plug this into our power meter. That way we can get an accurate at-the-wall power usage. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I see a red light inside. The screen has now came on. It says Wi-Fi JamNet. So that's the Wi-Fi. It creates its own Wi-Fi network. Now we're going to use our phone or mobile device, and we're going to switch the wireless network to this guy. We're going to go find this wireless network. So we do our settings, we hold our Wi-Fi button, then it scans for our Wi-Fi networks. We'll find hopefully find the JamNet. Let's see, is that JamNet? Is that the one that's broadcasting? No, it's broadcasting. JamNet must be what they set this thing up to connect to when they're doing the testing. So the Wi-Fi network is Bitaxe _ and some numbers. So we'll go ahead and click it. And now it's obtaining the IP address to connect to this thing. It will tell us that no internet connection. In a second here. There it goes. Internet may not be available, and then I always just select connect only this time so that if it does connect, my phone doesn't randomly go and try to connect to it again. Now it says connected without internet, not secured. Now we're going to go ahead and just open a web browser, a new tab, and we're going to go to 192.168.4.1. and that should jump into the OS. 192.168.4.1. And instantly it connected, and I'll show you what that looks like on the screen. And what it says is the host name, which is what you name the device. They put PlebSource Lucky X5. Then the Wi-Fi SSID, they had theirs programmed in where it was connected and they were testing, and then a Wi-Fi password. So we're obviously going to change that first thing. We're going to change the Wi-Fi SSID to our Wi-Fi network. Make sure it's typed exactly the same with any lowercase spaces, special characters, whatever. Make sure it's identical, and then same thing for your Wi-Fi network password. And then we're going to hit save. Save successful. Warning, you must restart the device after saving for the changes to take effect. And now there's a restart button right beside the save. So we're gonna hit restart. And then this thing should fire right back up. Sure did. Now it has changed, and it says my Wi-Fi network here on the little splash screen. And it gave it a new Wi-Fi, a new local IP address. So it says Stratum host, public pool, and then the new local IP address. The second screen will pop up there. It's given the hash rate, the efficiency, the temp. Then the next one shows the Stratum host, which is public pool dash public dash pool, public pool, and then the local IP address. So now, this is set up, and it should start mining to whatever's already pre-programmed in there, but we're not done yet. We don't want this to mine to PlebSource's Bitcoin address. We want it to mine to our Bitcoin address. So we're going to open the browser again, and we're going to go to our new IP address, new local IP address, because that .4.1 no longer connects because we're not connected to that network anymore. It's no longer broadcasting the Wi-Fi SSID. We're going to connect to the new one, which is .4.98. 192.168.4.98. Bam, connected right away. It says this thing is doing 4.58 terahash with an efficiency of 19.56, which it just switched. Efficiency is now 4.35, 20.87. And then it shows shares 59, rejected 0. And then it shows our nice little graph and all the power usage and whatnot. So it says that it's using 91.8, it's 115 at the wall, but that's not settled down yet. So now we're gonna hit the 3 lines up in the top corner, and we're going to go to our pool settings. This is where we're gonna change if we wanna change the pool, you could leave it public pool if you want. It's funny, their fallback is Mining Dutch, which that's interesting. Most people don't use Mining Dutch as a fallback. They usually use public pool or CK pool or one of those two, or they flip-flop them. So now right here, it shows the Stratum user. The Stratum user is going to be your Bitcoin address dot your worker name. So we're going to go and get this and update it on the top pool, and we're going to change the pool to, we're going to use CK, so it's solo.ckpool.io, and then I think the port is 3333. Pretty sure. We'll pop it up on the screen. Then we're going to put in our Bitcoin address dot our worker name, and then a password. And then we're going to update both the fallback Stratum pool and the primary. We're going to save, we're going to restart, we're going to let this thing get mining. Okay, so we plugged it in, we hit restart. So we're using CK pool as our primary, we're using public pool as our backup. Then we hit save, we hit restart. It's currently in the process of restarting. And it shows solo.ckpool.org. And then it's got my local IP address up there. Boy, I can tell it's pushing out. It's showing 3100 gigahash and climbing. Temperature 58C, which is kind of toasty. That thing's pretty loud and keeps making noise. It's showing 136 watts at the wall. Let's see what our dashboard shows on this thing. So dashboard showing 4.27 terahash, efficiency 25. Yeah, because it's using a lot of power at the moment. 4.35, so it's still getting settled down. So now that our pool is set the way we want, there's a couple options. So in here in your dashboard, if you hit the top left corner, you get the drop down. You got dashboard, swarm, network, pool settings, customization settings, logs, white paper. So your dashboard, your main dashboard, shows all your stats, your bar graph, all the essentials. Your swarm will look for all your other devices on the same network and pull them in so that you can mass update or at least see what they're all doing. Network is your Wi-Fi connection. Then you've got your pool settings. That is where you actually change where you're mining to, put in your Bitcoin address. Customization is kind of cool because you can change your theme color. You can go from dark or light mode, and then you've got 5 color selections: orange, red, blue, green, and purple. And then for your settings, underneath your settings, this is where you can overclock this thing. Change the overclocks. You can set your automatic fan control, your target temperature. What else? You've got your display. You don't want to mess up with the display settings because then it might not show up proper. So leave the display settings. Unless you want to turn it off, you can turn the display to off instead of on. Oh, and then from settings off, also you could update your the website GUI, that would be update website. That's what you're looking at. If they make updates or changes, you would download the newest and then hit browse, go find the file, and then save it in here. Same with firmware, if you need to update the firmware. For now, I would advise do not update the firmware unless it is an official release, especially with something that's kind of custom like this, because you really don't want to mess up the device by putting a custom firmware on there, or a firmware that's not made for this specific, because this is a flashed version here. Basically, we're running Axe OS. I mean, this is not made to run Axe OS. This is made to run Lucky Miner's custom OS, where they've built it and basically took a mirror of Axe OS and then put it on there. So just a word of caution. Okay, so stock, what do they have settings in here? They have the frequency set to 525, and they have the voltage set to 1200. The 1200 is the default. The frequency default is 485, so they have bumped this thing up quite a bit. So one note here is that it is sucking from the front and expelling the heat through the back of this thing. I'm curious if we can flip that. Automatic fan control, no. So, and maybe that's normal with the Lucky Miner. I can't remember if it's supposed to. I've got one, it's not running, it's sitting in the box. This guy will push the heat out the front here. So it sucks through the back where the power cord is, and then it expels the heat frontwards through this here vent. It does have the nice little magnetic vent cover, where this is more of like a solid block. This one, the power supply is separate. It's a little mini brick. This one, it's built in. So honestly, that's probably the difference in size in the two. But it's putting out a good bit of heat. Okay, so let's check what it's actually, what's the hash rate, what's the efficiency, what's it actually running at. So it's currently showing 4.28 terahash. It's showing 4.0 on here. Well, it just dropped 4.02, which isn't very good. And then at the wall, I'm using a whopping 139 watts. So I think what we're gonna do is later we're gonna do some overclocking on this thing, some testing to see how much efficiency we can get out of this thing, because really that's the goal. We want to pull the power down, pull the hash rate up as much as we can with a good balance. So if we were going for max out, we would pump as much power as we could to it, and we would try to get as much hash rate as we could out of it. If we're trying to go max efficiency, we might crank this thing way down and just get the power usage way down too. So your hash rate might only be up here with the power usage as far down as we can get it. And then really what I try to go for is most of the time max efficiency with max power usage. So maybe it's not the max efficiency, maybe it's not the power usage, it's kind of somewhere in the middle where I'm getting a really good efficiency, but also a really good hash rate. That's how we do our overclocking. If you want to know more on overclocking, check out our previous video where we just did really thorough in-depth overclocking on the NerdqAxe from Solar Satoshi. We went in depth on that one. We spent a number of days like getting real hash rates and everything, and you can see how we kind of just kept playing with it, stepping it, letting it run for an hour plus, and getting the numbers and then comparing all the data. But yeah, you can check that one out above. But yeah, this thing's running. It's kicking out lots of heat. These, both this, the Nano 3S, which we've got a couple of, the Lucky Miner LV08, the Lucky X5, they all are really nice devices because they can help heat a small room, put it in your desk area while you're working. Super efficient, well, mostly efficient. Of course, there's new, more efficient models always coming out. But yeah, this is the Lucky Miner X5. We absolutely love that they have flashed this thing. They have put on the Axe OS firmware back on there like it should, man. It's pretty kind of warm to the touch up here. To be expected though. It's not super loud. The miners behind me are actually running a little louder. I think that Bitaxe touch on super mode is kind of kind of putting the loudest on the background here. But this is not nearly as loud as that is. It's not loud enough to even bother you while you're working, especially if you put it under the desk or at the corner of the desk or something like that. Honestly, I think I would rather run it vertical if you can. That will probably keep the device cooler. Actually, the hot spot seems to be right here, kind of in the middle. So really, either way probably will get your best results to keep the device cool as you're running it. But yeah, it's putting out a lot of heat. Yeah, so what do you think of this device, man? This is, for me, I think this is awesome. I think PlebSource is onto something here, and I wish that more companies would keep that open mind, that open source. And because really, Lucky Miner kind of just took this design, made it their own, put their flashed firmware on there, and they said, this is ours, and this is how we're running it. So tell us your thoughts. What do you think about this device? Tell us down in the comments, man. People want to know. Of course, we put links for this down in the description. Make sure to go pick yours up. Tell them your boy Altered sent you. Use the Red Panda code RPM. I think it's use code RPM or Red Panda to get a percentage off. Again, not affiliated. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for today's video. If you're new to mining and need some help, make sure to join the Misfit Mining Discord. Always plenty of seasoned vets in there willing to help you out. And if you like the video, you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe for future content. Thanks for coming along and enjoy the ride. Ah, delicious. Open sourced heroes in the night. Didn't really work.